It's LDI, LDI, LDI. It's been my life actually since, well, a main part of my life since 1988,
I know.
when we founded it, believe it or not. Um, it's a bit of a long story, but the woman who founded LDI is called Pat McKay, and
Mhm,
she still comes to LDI every year. And she had a magazine originally called Theater Crafts, which she had bought from another publisher in Pennsylvania. And uh, in the late 80s, maybe 86, 87, I'm not exactly sure what year she bought another magazine that was called Lighting Dimensions. And that
mhm,
was sort of when the rock and roll lighting industry was getting started. And there were two companies that were advertising high end systems and Verilight, which were the big moving light companies in America. Having first Verilights went out on that Genesis tour in the 80s. So by 88, the rock and roll lighting industry was gearing up. And they said to Pat, the magazine is great, but why don't you do a trade show? And that's sort of how it started.
La 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 ladies, the ladies. La, la, la. Now here's the leading ladies by geezers of gear. On tour, maybe she got some stories to share. Now here's the leading ladies by the geezers of gear. Rock star ladies with some stories to share, because la 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 ladies, the ladies, la la. Hello, Ellen. Welcome to Leading Ladies podcast.
I was
It's
going to say
really
leading lady sounds a little strange. I feel more like the dowager on Downton Abbey, but
Shut up. I always say to everybody, it's really strange because like we've been for the last 20 minutes, like before we've even hit record.
right.
So we are here to talk about LDI. And
Yes, LDI, LDI, LDI. It's been my life actually since, well, a main part of my life since 1988,
I know.
when we founded it, believe it or not. Um, it's a bit of a long story, but the woman who founded LDI is called Pat McKay, and
Hmm.
she still comes to LDI every year. And she had a magazine originally called Theater Crafts, which she had bought from another publisher in Pennsylvania. And uh, in the late 80s, maybe 86, 87, I'm not exactly sure what year she bought another magazine that was called Lighting Dimensions. And
Hmm.
that was sort of when the rock and roll lighting industry was getting started. And there were two companies that were advertising high end systems and Verilight, which were the big moving light companies in America, having sort of um, moved away. There were the Italian companies before that, like Colomar and Clay Packy,
Hmm.
and then it sort of shifted to the States, and we got high end systems and um, Verilight, and the first Verilights went out on that Genesis tour in the 80s. So by 88, the rock and roll lighting industry was gearing up. And they said to Pat, the magazine is great, but why don't you do a trade show? And that's sort of how it started. And the very first year was in an odd building that wasn't even a convention center, a building called the Info Mart in Dallas, Texas.
Hmm.
And the first day we were sort of standing there wondering if anybody would show up. And they did. Actually, about 3,000 people came to that very first show.
Wow.
There were
And that
about
was in
100
88.
exhibitors. 88 in Dallas. And for the first bunch of years, we moved around Dallas, Nashville, Reno. Pat was very big on non union places because
Okay.
the
Yeah.
union rules in the convention centers can be very restrictive. And over the years, LDI has negotiated all kinds of things so that our production assistants can help, especially in the conference rooms, working alongside with the union people so that it's a nice mix.
LightSwitch is a collective of award-winning lighting, media, and visual designers committed to changing how people experience the world. For more than 30 years, we have been practicing pragmatic design. At LightSwitch, we believe it's our responsibility to keep our clients' creative, logistical, and financial objectives in balance. LightSwitch's range of expertise is extensive, from working one-on-one with clients and artists to multidisciplinary teams collaborating on all visual aspects of temporary and permanent projects. LightSwitch creates unforgettable moments and powerful experiences. We celebrate our team, clients, and all of our industry's diverse and talented people. As a part of our commitment to inclusion in all aspects of entertainment and experience design, LightSwitch is proud to sponsor Leading Ladies.
Yep.
And we have had a lot of people in the industry, including like our favorite example is Ben Saltzman, who's the owner of ACT
Yeah.
Entertainment, you know, who was one of our interns many years ago.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he started, he was a college student at the time, I guess. And there's quite a few people who have gone through our internship program who have leading roles in the industry, but Ben is sort of like the poster boy.
Really, he is, because like
Yeah.
even I remember last year I was like the big star of ACT, and he was there, and he looks amazing now. Like really, like lost loads of weight. Like he looked really
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, he looked good last year. He's a great guy. He's very smart. It was very interesting the way he sort of, you know, I don't know, Bob Gordon had started ACT Entertainment, and
Mhm.
before that he was like the high-end hog systems. You know, I used to call him the happiest hog farmer in America because he did such a great job selling those whole hogs. Um, and Bob did a great job with the company, and I think Ben has really expanded it interestingly in a lot of interesting ways. So they are obviously a huge supporter of LDI, and we do a lot of training,
Mhm.
especially pre-show training, which we call the LD Institute, which is all the
Yep.
pre-show stuff. So like this year, the pre-show training opens on Wednesday, December 3rd,
Yep.
and the actual show floor is open on December 7, 8, and 9. So
Yes.
there's a couple days of only training, and then some of it overlaps. And ACT, for example, teaches a lot of hands-on Grand MA training.
Yep.
And as a matter of fact, every year, and true already this year, they teach a 2-day beginner class twice, and they sell out immediately, and both are already sold
Really.
out. There's only 8 people. It's 4 consoles, 2 people per console. So it's really intimate hands-on training,
Yep.
which is really great. And, you know, you get the whole LDI experience with it, which is quite something. Jessie, who is our show director at the moment, has really expanded the show in a lot of interesting ways. And she's found a lot of cool ways to tie the conference program, which I've always done, into the show floor more. So like some of the rigging stuff that we do is going to be on the show floor this year. And as a climber, she's gotten someone to sponsor a climbing wall, which can be used with, you know, the same kind of harnesses and stuff that the riggers use. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on the show floor that makes it more just like more than just walking around. And I mean, you get to look at all the exhibits and all that stuff. And we've also developed a wonderful program that's called Battle of the Busk.
Yeah, I
Um,
was reading about this one.
which is expanding this year to include a second night, which is a VJ challenge.
Mm.
So people can sign up for all these things for free. It's really so that students get to learn, although the VJ challenge will be sort of audited. People can apply, and then certain people will be selected.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
and those events will take place on Sunday night and Monday night, um, you know, at LDI. And it's great. It's like a great show to see before you go out. And there'll probably be a drone show again this year outside. So there's like a lot of stuff that goes on that surrounds the traditional exhibit floor with all of the wonderful exhibitors and all their new technology.
And I mean, going back to obviously you was part of it from 88. I mean, what do you remember most about those early days? Like, and did you ever imagine it would grow into what it is today?
No, probably not. But it was hard to tell because the first year's success, Pat was like, "Oh, I used to think I ran a business when I had a magazine, and now I know what it is to run a business." And
Mm-hmm.
eventually it just got so big, then she was like a one-man company.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of, you know, eventually sold it because of the needs of a show like that. You know, it would be very hard for her to hire a staff large enough to run a show like that. And she was interested in other things by that point. And I think at the end of 1995, she sold the show to a group that then eventually sold it again in 2019 to Questex, which is the current owner of LDI. And they turned out to be great because the first thing that happened in 2000 was no show because of COVID.
Oh, of
So there
course.
they are with this brand new trade show that they're pinning a lot of hopes on, and we had a year off. But luckily, the next year we sort of slid in between Delta and Omicron. We were like able to like slip in, and people had masks, and or there were sanitary stations everywhere, and it was a smaller show than recent ones, but we were glad that we survived the pandemic and that the industry seems to have bounced back.
Yep, for sure.
Last year was a great show, one of our biggest ever, and we have high hopes for this year. Seems to be registrations perking along, and things look good.
That was actually my very first LDI last year.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
it's funny because in the old days, there was a little more freedom
Mm-hmm.
to do fun stuff in a way. Like we do a wonderful program that's called Backstage Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
which is a full day. It has been up to 3 days, but at the moment it's one full day program where people get on a bus at like 8:30 in the morning, and we say
Okay.
goodbye to them at 11 o'clock at night. And a friend of mine used to call it the Ellen Lampert Death March. And they said, you have to beg for a bathroom break somewhere along the way. So it's not quite that bad. There are definitely meal breaks and, water on the
So
bus at all times in case. But you go backstage at a lot of different places. And we've been backstage in probably every theater and club in Las Vegas, all kinds of fun places. And interestingly enough, the very first Backstage Las Vegas, the show hadn't been in Las Vegas yet. It was in Reno,
no,
which is 1 hour away on a plane. So we actually chartered a private plane in Reno, Nevada,
no.
and we put 100 people on that plane. So it was probably about 90 attendees. And the designers from Mystère, which was the first resident Cirque du Soleil show in Las Vegas, including the sound designer Jonathan Deans and the lighting designer Luc Lafortune and Pat and myself. And it was right after the show closed on the Sunday, and we had dinner boxes in the seats on the plane. And when we landed on the tarmac in Las Vegas, it was well before 9/11, it was probably 1994. Um, 1994, if I recall correctly. And the buses were right on the tarmac. We didn't even have to go into the terminal. And they took everyone's luggage away from them and took them directly to Treasure Island, which had just opened with the big battleship battle, which I think may be gone at this point. I don't know what's on the strip anymore, but it was a big battleship battle. It was the Brits and the Americans, I think, in the beginning. Then it became some pirate girls. I don't know. But there was this pirate show, and we went backstage in the pirate show and looked at the technology, then inside and saw the evening performance of Mystère. Um, and then people went back to their rooms, and their luggage had been assigned, delivered to their room by the hotel. And some people called us up and said, "Oh, there's a bag here that's not mine." And we said, "Yes, it's your Backstage Las Vegas backpack. All your stuff that you need for the next 2 days is in there." We also did these really clever red click cases. They're like little red plastic briefcases that click open and close. And it had the LDI Reno and Backstage Las Vegas logos, silk
That's
screened on the
awesome.
outside. Oh, I should have brought mine. I have it here. And all inside were the copies of the magazine that we did at the time, Entertainment Design, or yeah, maybe it was Entertainment Design by then, with all the articles about all the stuff we were going to be seeing. Because, now we just send people links and they look at it all online. But in those days, we actually gave them copies of the magazines and printouts of the gear lists of the places they were going. So um, that was sort of really a fun event. And another really fun event was we used to do a lot of pyro stuff. And one year we decided to have a major pyro exhibition outside.
Mm-hmm.
And some people that we knew donated a set of like a little Western town. And these people from Universal Studios in Orlando had shipped out like all the pyro stuff. and
Yeah.
they actually like drilled holes in the set and filled it with gunpowder or pyro powder or whatever it is, and then painted over it so it looked fine to the audience. And then they decided there should be a car in front of it, and there would be like a cowboy fight in front of this set, and the car would explode along with the set turning on fire. So we got all the rules and regulations for what to do to blow up a car. We bought a car for $100 at some junkyard, but they forgot to tell us two things. One is you have to put plywood or something under the tires so that when the
Oh,
car blows up, the tires don't melt into the parking lot. And we didn't know that. And the other thing was that cars from the 70s, which this probably was, did not have shatterproof glass on
oh
the
no.
windshield. So we had fire watch for this little event. And when the car exploded, the windshield went into about 5,000 small pieces of glass. But luckily, it arced up and over the crowd and landed in the bushes behind us. And the
Oh,
fire watch, they were like, oh my God. And then, of course, when they dragged this car away and there were burnt tire piles on the parking lot, I'm like, oh my God, are we going to have to pay for that? But I think the 2,000 people who went outside to watch that will never forget it.
no, I'm sure they won't. My goodness. Event Safety Alliance, you needed to be there then.
Well, yes, they didn't exist yet, luckily. And, I don't imagine that companies like Questex would much, humor us in doing things like that, but it was great fun.
Yeah, the back in the day where you could get away with a lot more, and
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, for sure. But
It was
did you
fun.
say that you're still doing the backstage thing in
We
Las Vegas?
do, we do. We're doing it this year. It will be on Saturday, December 6th.
Oh no,
And it's I know,
you've got
another
too
full
much
day.
going on.
Oh, there's so much going on that day, you wouldn't believe it. But there's a limit, there's 2 buses, so only like 90 people can go, and there's a
Yep.
little more staff. So, um, they're going to start out at 8 or 8:30 in the morning, probably have a little breakfast on the bus. Then they're gonna go over to the Wynn Hotel and have a
Mhm.
3-hour backstage tour
I
of
wanna go.
Awakening, which is probably the highest tech show ever on the Strip. Um, Sadly for me, I mean, they're probably happy about it. They had a pool there before, a big pool,
Mhm.
that they had a show called Le Rev, and I'm very fond of aquatic shows, but they have filled in the pool, I don't know, permanently, if not temporarily, I don't know, but now they've got this other show, and it's very, very, very high tech. So what they do is they divide the group of, maybe 50 to 100. Last year we had 80 people. So
Yep.
assuming there's 80 people on this tour, they divide it into like 4 groups of 20 and take them around, and they meet with the crew at 4 different stations in the theater. So you get to visit like automation, audio, projection, and lighting.
That
And you
sounds
get the
amazing.
the tech spiel from each of the departments, and then they all meet back in the theater and have a Q&A with everyone before they get
Yeah.
back on the bus. And then the next stop is going to be this new thing over at Area 15, which is called Universal Horror
Okay.
Unleashed. And it's
Mhm.
4 haunted houses. And what they're going to do is have a lights on tour so they can see what it is, from the technical side of things. And then the lights go out. And at 2 o'clock, you get to be the first people actually through it for the day to see it with the lights
Oh.
off, which is something we used to do a lot at Disney in the haunted house at Disneyland,
Mhm.
which was always, by the time we got there after LDI, it was always had its Christmas overlay. And going through it with the team with the lights on is quite amazing because you get to see a lot of they don't give away any of their proprietary,
Mhm.
magic or tricks or anything, but you get to see how a lot of the stuff functions. And then when you go through it again with the lights off, it's like, oh my God, that's amazing. So that's what they're going to do there. And then we're hoping to visit like the new theater and the new nightclub at the Fontainebleau, and the new club that's called Club Theater Voltaire over at the Venetian. Um, have a little dinner and go back to Awakening for the 9 o'clock show with a little Q&A afterwards.
Oh, why is it on the Saturday?
I know, sorry. Next year we'll try and do it on a different day.
So who's gonna be, like, with everyone on a bus and going round? Like, who's, like,
Well, we
who's
have
heading that
an
up?
extraordinary Double Trouble, which is the name of their company. I don't know if you
Okay.
met Bill Dignight last year, who's our production manager at LDI. He was like did you go to the new technology breakfast? He's on stage, usually in wild flowered pants,
Oh, right. Yep.
introducing all of the people at the technology breakfast. Well, believe it or not, Bill has a twin brother, Pat.
Oh,
And they look exactly alike, except that Pat has longer hair these days, which is good because when they had the same haircut, people would go up to Pat looking for an answer for the question they asked Bill an hour earlier. And he's like, "Yeah, I've never
no.
seen you before." And they're like, "Yes, I just spoke to you." I was like, no, it was my brother. Um, and he is just an ultimate host and a really great guy. So he has been the host of Backstage for the past several years. I used to do it, but it's way too much for me anymore to be
It
out
sounds
walking
so
around for
full
11
on,
hours.
really. A full on day, but just, yeah.
Yeah.
And I suppose you
I
can buy
remember
tickets.
one time a couple of years ago, the evening show was Cher at whatever theater she was at, and Pat was wearing like a gold lame jacket, and somebody said to him, "Are you Sonny Bono?" Or, and I was like, "No, he's dead." But with the long hair and everything, he kind of fit the bill. He could have been a lookalike, but they're an interesting team, and they have a AV company called Double Trouble.
Hmm.
And when Bill also started out as an intern. I think this is probably his, I don't know, I'm going to say 18th LDI. I'm making that up, somewhere between 15 and 20. And he is now our production manager. And he used to, because he had his own AV company in Michigan where he lives, sometimes he'd solve some of our problems because a normal AV company really doesn't get like LDI. We don't want like, the kind of conference room projectors that other shows might, we want entertainment technology in every room.
Yeah.
So Bill's company has eventually become our AV provider, which is great. So he
Yeah.
sort of wears two hats. He's running the Double Trouble side, which is the AV provider, and then he's
Hmm.
running we have a wonderful used to be called an internship program, and now we call them production assistants, which is what they really are. And they really help with all the technical setup in the rooms, and they really are sort of the backbone of the technical side of the conference program, which is great. And like I said
Yeah.
before, them have grown up to be big deals in the industry, which is great.
It is amazing. So what else? So you've got that going on the Saturday. You've got, I believe, Rigs is happening on Saturday as well. Is that
Yes,
Saturday?
Rigs is on Saturday and Sunday. This is the second year. It's a 2-day rigging intensive,
Hmm.
which is run by two very experienced riggers, Tracy Nunnally and Eric Rouse.
Hmm.
And it's 2 days of in-depth sessions, a little different this year. The first day is everybody stays together and there's sessions on a various, topics for professional riggers. And then the second day, they break out into groups. So there's 2 breakouts in the morning and 2 breakouts in the afternoon. And they run about 2.5 to 3 hours. And they're on things like rigging math and how to make knots and all the stuff that riggers really need to do. So they're deeper dives so that they can break up into smaller groups and really have deep dives other than just more, sort of speaking and listening to people on panels. They really get to do it.
Get involved with
So,
it because you have
yeah, and that's a very interesting
the
program. It
wonderful
launched
Roy
last
Bickle,
year.
haven't you? You've got Roy Bickle
Yes.
coming in for that to
Yeah,
start.
because he's on your Dining with Dinosaurs, which is another great event. We've asked him to do he's adorable. We asked him to do a keynote, and I didn't want to burden him. So I sent him the schedule and he said, "Oh, I see you've only got a half of an hour. I thought it would be longer." So I said, "Oh, I'll make it 45 minutes. Is that better?" He said, "Yes." So that's
Honestly,
very exciting. Roy is really like the godfather of entertainment rigging. So it will be great having him kick off rigs and then finish the day at Dining with Dinosaurs,
yep.
which is, obviously presented by Geezers of Gear. And last year was a lunch, and this year will be a dinner and a panel.
Hmm.
And I think it's a great opportunity for people to dine and discuss with legends of the concert touring industry. I think it's very exciting.
Yeah, I have to say I'm
Um,
very, very proud of this song because obviously I'm part of that with you.
right.
Getting all the dinos together, and like you
Exactly.
said, last year it was. I think you'd allocated something like an hour and a half, 2 hours last year for a
Right. And
lunch.
this year it's like 4 hours, 4.5 hours. It's like 5 to 9 or 9:30, which is great. And I really applaud Marcel for bringing it to us because Jesse and I were looking for something that would be like a really interesting meetup kind of thing. Um, Everybody's always talking about mentoring. They want to meet people, and getting all these veterans together was a really great idea. And Marcel, he calls and he goes, well, I've got this crazy idea and you're probably going to shut me down immediately, but it's called Dining with Dinosaurs. And I'm like,
And you loved it
let's
straight
do it.
away.
And he's like, really? I'm like, absolutely. And I called Jesse and I said, our prayers have been answered. That mentoring thing we wanted to do. Well, we do a different thing. It's actually called the mentoring meetup, but what we wanted to do, like around a meal and, getting a lot of people involved. And I said, Marcel just answered our prayers. And actually, it's now the sort of evening keystone to another full day event that's called XLIVE,
Mhm.
the concert touring sessions, which Marcel was like, you guys don't really do enough concert touring. And I said to him, yeah, and I've sort of got, FOMO about the concert touring conference in Lidditz because I can't get to Lidditz because it's always during LDI, and we could do our own and sort of skew it a little differently. Ours is more towards the design and technology.
And you've got Jake Berry helping you with that as well, haven't you?
Yes, and Jake Barry has come on as the creative consultant for that, and Marcel and Jake will be moderating the sessions, and we have great speakers like Bob Boniol, Butch
Mm.
Allen, Suna Routier, it's a Roy Bickle again. It's a great group of people on there. So, there's a lot of information if you go to the LDI website at ldishow.com.
Yep.
And you'll find everything sort of day by day under our agenda, and it's really packed.
I was going to say, I've got some of the panel discussion, and we've got the Road to Success, which is a great one.
Right.
Then what else have we got going on here?
There's
Drop the
one with show
Change
records, like things that
festivals.
went wrong and how you fixed it. There's making moments with designers of like their biggest successes.
Show
There's
records.
the show records is the biggest like bad things that happened and how you fixed it. There's one about the use of the media server technology on the Coldplay tour.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting stuff going on that day. I think it's really a cool. Next Live is something that we used to have before. It was originally a standalone event. And
Mhm.
then when Questex took us over, they didn't want to run it as a standalone. So we've melded it into LDI, and it's had like a different theme every year. One year was the metaverse. One year was AI and XR. And this
Mhm.
year it's the concert touring sessions. And I hope that sticks and that it's a big enough success that becomes, the new X Live for the next 20 years.
Yep.
And then I'll
And
retire.
no, you already said you're not retiring.
Oh, yeah. Well, I promised Jesse I would retire at 90. So
Yeah, I've got
I have a
years,
few
years and
years left.
years. Yep, years and years. And like we're saying, so last year, so it was actually Marcel, obviously he's got the Geezers of Gear podcast, and it was Scott
Right.
DeVos that was 2 years or last year that he came on, and he had this idea for getting everybody together. Marcel loved the idea, then came to you with it. You loved the
Right.
idea. The lunch was last year, and it was a success last year. But this
It
year
was.
really is, like you said, it's now 4 hours, 4.5 hours. I think it starts at
Right.
5:30 and finishes at 9:30. Dinner, more of a panel,
Right.
round
Exactly.
tables, food,
Yep.
and there's going to be a bar, which,
Yep.
that's going to get everyone's talking.
Right.
And that's going
One of the things that we wanted to do was, really make sure that it's inclusive. So not only is it the evening event for the X Live Day,
to,
but it's also open to everyone in our Young Career Professionals program,
which is
which is a
amazing.
special program that we run for people 18 to 25 who might not be able to afford to come to the show. So they
Mhm.
get a full conference badge, LD Innovation conference badge, with a choice of about 100 sessions at the conference. And it includes X Live and Dining with Dinosaurs. And I think they pay somewhere, depending on what time of where in the registration cycle you buy it, it's like $159 or $199.
Which
So
is
it
amazing.
really, for the people who are just getting into the industry, a great way for them to, dip their toes into everything that we're doing.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And you can also get the Dining with Dinosaurs. That's the only a la carte one that you're selling at the moment as well?
Yes, Dining with Dinosaurs is a la carte. I think it's something like $109. Um, and it
And it goes up
includes
to
the
149,
dinner.
doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
149
And
you book it.
yeah. So that can be bought a la carte at LDI. Um, and the Young Career Professionals program is actually part of a larger initiative that we have that's called Foster the Future.
Hmm.
And other elements of that include this year there's going to be a career fair. Last year was a career day. And this year we've sort of expanded it, put it on the show floor. There'll be a stage with a lot of like business oriented sessions for people who are, looking to um, up their career, level up their career. And we also have a diversity scholarship, the Pat McKay Diversity and Design Scholarship Program, which is generously sponsored by Light Switch,
Yes, it is. I was
and
just going to say that.
which is great. We really appreciate, John Featherstone and everyone at Light Switch for their support. I think this is the third year that they've supported it, which is great. And it's a really great way to meet a lot of young people in the industry that come from a lot of different communities, different walks of
Mhm.
life, and they bring a lot to the table,
I
which is
remember
great.
when, like, I started doing this podcast. It was just, I don't even know how it happened, but it happened, and I'm doing this little podcast now, talking to the ladies. And the first person, I think it was even before I'd even had a podcast out, John basically contacted Marcel and was like, "We want to be part of this. Like, we just love
Oh,
it."
that's
And
great.
so, like, John and Colin, they've just been so supportive of, everything that I'm doing. And again, I've had some amazing people, ladies come on the podcast, chatting about their careers and all the rest of it. And so I feel very lucky. So, the fact that they've been part of like the LDI sponsoring this,
Yeah,
they're just
no, they're
they're
terrific. They're
wonderful
great.
people. Really,
Yep,
they're really, really wonderful.
absolutely.
And I was hoping that John will be coming to LDI, but at the moment, I think he's going to be out touring, or so
Oh,
he's. I
that's a shame.
know.
No, I love
I
him.
Yeah, me too. And I mean, we've got some, like you mentioned, like for obviously X Live, but even for Dining with Dinosaurs, we've got some great dinos that are coming
Right.
on board. And there's going to be lots of stuff on your website for checking
I
out
mean,
who your diners are.
the thing about Dining with Dinosaurs, it's like, you know, uh, uh, the power that was in that room last year. And then some of the people who wandered in, they're like, oh my God, my friends are all in this room. I have to get in there, like,
Yeah,
you know, it was great. It was really terrific. I mean, and look at some of the people for this year, like Alan Branton,
I know.
um, Jeff Ravitz, John Wiseman. I mean, it's an amazing group of people.
Yep, the lovely Bob Gordon again.
Yep.
Yep. Although, so there's a little bit of it. Seth Jackson, he's coming. He'll be back again. He was
He's
like, I
kind of
really
like
want.
a junior dino.
But yeah, we all say this. You're a junior one. But yeah, and at the moment we've got Nancy Mays coming, and there's a
Great.
couple of
Yeah,
other
she's
ladies
great.
that I'm trying to get some more ladies on the panel as well. And then of course that's really going to be this, like the Saturday night, like you said, that's going to be like the opening. We've got the Golden Diner Award.
Yeah.
So and we're really,
Yeah, I'd like to
really,
also just say that at this point, ETC
yeah,
has come in as a sponsor
yeah.
for X Live and Dining with Dinosaurs, which is very exciting. So thanks to them for that. And I think there'll be more sponsors as we get closer to the event. And it's going to be great. I think that there's just like something for everyone. We also have a new thing called the Stage Managers Academy,
Hmm.
um, which was for the past 2 years, just a series of sessions in the LDI conference. But this year we decided to sort of make it a standalone event for 2 days, kind of like the rigging event,
Okay.
so that stage managers also have like a dedicated lunch and a chance to network. And
What
they
days are
can,
they on?
it's also Saturday and Sunday.
Oh my God.
Well, we try not to do a lot of stuff on the show days because, we don't want to take people off the show floor.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So I wouldn't want to run something like Sunday and Monday. and a lot of people can't get there. So Saturday's kind of like the nexus of the show.
Yep.
But if it turns out to be way too much on the same day, we can always look at that for next year. But
Yeah.
I think everything will do great. I mean, there's always like, upwards of 13,000 people at the show. So they sort
I was
themselves
going to
out to
ask
where they
you,
have to go,
attendees, like
Yeah.
what kind of number do you normally look at
I think
for
we're hoping
attendees?
for, 13 to 15,000 this year.
Yep.
15,000 would be a great number.
I always loved last year when like the first opening with all your little firework, not fireworks, like your little bangers, and you remember you standing there
Yeah.
and clapping everyone as they come in, and so that's really
Yeah, it's a
nice.
lot of fun, it never gets old for some reason. That one moment, that
Yeah.
minute when everybody's like in the lobby waiting to come in, even the first year after COVID, some of the Questex people were like, make sure there's a lot of people in the lobby. We want great pictures for the ribbon cutting. I said, don't worry. We always have a lot of people, And I
Yeah.
think they were a little nervous because it was a smaller show, but everybody was there.
Yep.
Um, we also kick off the first 2 mornings with new technology breakfasts,
Mhm.
which are free to all LDI attendees. They usually have some sponsors attached to them. And, it's not really a big breakfast. You get a bagel or a yogurt or a glass of juice, coffee. But it's a great way to see a lot of the technology that's on the show floor.
Mhm.
So all the manufacturers get like a 3 to 5 minute slot, and they can say, this is my new product. Come see it at my booth and get a live demo of it. And, it's really quite nice. They're
And
lovely events.
did I read as well there was something like the LDI After Dark? Was
Yeah,
that?
LDI After Dark is a fun program too. It's working with the clubs in town,
Mhm.
mostly the ones from the Tao group, and they give anybody with an LDI badge free admission.
Ah, okay.
Um, so there's usually there's a schedule that will be online before LDI of which night, which club will welcome, all the LDI people. So that's a good way for anybody over 21 to kind of end the day. Although it's past my bedtime, you will
Well,
not
do you
see
know
me.
what? Last year it was really embarrassing. Like the jet lag just got me so badly. I mean, the only event that even Marcel and I managed to go to was the upstaging, which was amazing. And then after that, I think we left at midnight and I was shattered. Like I was a zombie because the time difference really is quite brutal for me.
Yes, I can
Um,
imagine.
yeah. But I
And it
said to
takes a couple
Marcel,
days to get in the swing of a new place.
it does. I mean, this year I am literally just going to fly in and fly out. Whereas last year, because I'd never been to Vegas before, I stayed, a couple of extra days before. But I think that didn't really do me any good because, like, I was up at 4 in the morning, 3, 4 in the morning. I was awake, but I was going to bed at 6 or 7 before, like, Marcel and
Right.
everyone
Mhm.
arrived. It really didn't do me any good because I just needed to get out there and see people.
Right.
But I'm really looking forward to coming back this year. Really looking forward to coming back. Looking
Good.
forward to, yeah, just
Right.
getting it all organized. Did you feel now that because wasn't LDI at a different time of the year and then Formula One came along
Well,
and
it was
threw
in
us all out?
November. Yeah, it's been in
Right.
October, it's been in November, and now December. Um, November for a long time, like the week before Thanksgiving, was always a great date for us.
Mhm.
And then this little thing called the Formula One car race decided to go to Las Vegas on our dates. Um, and everybody's in Vegas said, you don't want to be here when it's
No,
here.
no.
Um, and even though I hear that over where the convention center is not bad. The strip is like completely blocked off.
Yep.
And I don't get that people want to be in Vegas and not be able to go, you know,
No.
the strip or cross the strip or whatever. I haven't been there during F1, but we, in our wisdom, we decided it was probably better to move to December, which does not please everyone. Some people think it's a little too close to the holidays. And there's a little bit of a question about, um, shipping gear by the end of the year if people order it in December because it is so close to the holidays. But it's turned out to be a great date for us. And especially, I mean, like looking at the dinosaurs and some of the other events that we're
Mhm.
having, a lot of these people may have been on the road during December and
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah,
November, and by
November.
December, they're back. So we've actually had, I think, more designers at the show on the
Yep.
December dates, and the numbers are holding. So I think that in spite of a few people who are not loving it, it's turned out to be great dates for us.
But even in December when we arrived, they were still pulling down, all the artificial, like, the F1
Right.
structures. It was
Yep.
still chaotic when we were there. So you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, it might be exciting, it might not be, but our feeling was that, I mean, like even like Backstage Las Vegas, how would we get around? How would we get
You
people to
couldn't.
the
Yeah.
hotels? How would we?
And also, like, especially that time, the hotel prices would go up even more. And, I mean, I talk about F1 as an experience because, like I was saying, like that's where I started was Formula One.
Right, right.
And really, we used to go there and just take over, like, and that was it. So I think it's a good decision to move it
Yeah.
away from that. And December is it's a good date. It's the start of December, like you said, and hopefully now once
Yeah,
people
I
get
think so.
once people get used to the idea that there's a change,
Right.
then
There's
that's just how
also
it
it
is.
gives people enough time between, like there used to be like this one year we were practically back to back with Plaza, like less than a month after Plaza, and it was
Okay.
hard for some of the European companies, well, the English companies, to get their stuff, from one show to another or get that organized. Because I'm sure that some people don't even think about LDI until after Plaza's over, which is
No.
after Labor Day in the States. So that seems like the beginning of September, like right now, everybody's ramping up. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, LDI, and like now it's like on the front burner.
Yeah. On the radar for everything. Um,
Exactly.
well, I love hearing about all of this. As I said, I can't wait to come back and
Yeah, it should be a very, very exciting show this year. There's a lot going on,
yeah.
and, should be
I
great.
was quite surprised actually, but like everything on the Saturday, there really is. There's so much going
It's a
on.
busy day. Yep.
Yeah.
There's also, a lot of other stuff in the LD Institute, and the LD Innovation Conference starts that day too, but basically it's, the art of programming, which are
Hmm.
4 back-to-back, lighting programming sessions that are very popular. So people are just gonna have to sort themselves out. Like I say, it's like going to a Chinese restaurant, one from column A, one from column B. You can't have everything on the menu.
And
Um
tickets now, they're flowing there. You can go and register online now. The
Yes,
prices
you
are
can
going
go
to
on register
vary.
online. And one thing that's a little different this year is that we did not offer free exhibit hall passes at the get-go.
Okay.
Usually we do in the summer, and then in the fall it goes up. But there's so much that you get for the $49 floor pass, which includes the 3 new technology breakfasts, all
Hmm.
kinds of content and sessions on the floor, the 2 parties, the one on Sunday night for Battle of the Bus, Monday night for the new VJ challenge, the
Hmm.
LDI Award ceremony, which also includes breakfast on Tuesday morning. So there's so much that goes into this package. And as a little secret to your listeners, um, every exhibitor at LDI has a code for a free pass.
Hmm.
So keep your eye on your exhibitors' social
Oh.
media, and hopefully they will be promoting their code, because that way they get people to come see them.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Well, I think that's a watch out for your social media, watch out for your
Yep.
free codes,
Watch out for
or
the
pay the
social
money
media.
because it's still really cheap for what you get.
Yeah, $49. It's a great deal, and there are occasional sales where it's 50% off. So, like over Labor Day, there was a sale. It was
Hmm.
24.50. I mean, you can barely get dinner on the strip for 24.50.
You can't,
You can't
Ellen.
breakfast. And we're giving you 3 breakfasts. No, I mean it is a really good deal. So it's much more than just the exhibits.
Uh-huh.
So I
So
think it's definitely a good
when
deal.
will you be arriving? Because yeah,
On the
when's
1st, December
on the
1st.
right?
When do you come in?
I think it will be on the 4th because I think my flight
Okay.
comes. Yeah, I think it's the 4th.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so we'll have to catch up on the 4th or the
Absolutely.
5th.
Dinner.
Yeah, yeah, dinner. We'll go for dinner.
That
Um,
would be great.
and but thank you so much. I don't know if there's
Well,
anything
this
else that
was
we've
great. No,
we've
I
not
don't know if there's
covered
anything
or
else you just wanna
yeah.
know from me, but, if I forgot anything major, I'm sure someone will tell me.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff on the social media for geezers and,
Right,
just promoting a lot as well. That's gonna be coming up in the next couple of weeks for sure.
right,
And just what I always say, spreading the word about
right.
everything.
Yeah, I think I should just add that, like, for the LD Institute, which starts on the 3rd, whatever
Mhm.
you're interested in, there's probably a class there for you. There's a lot of audio training on the show floor that's free later in the week, but starting on the 3rd, there's hands-on lighting console training, there's hands-on media server training, there's a lot of
Mhm.
Vectorworks training, there's AI, there's content creation, there's Netgear switching, there's haze-based fog, there's follow me automation, there's like all whatever you're looking for. There's ILDA laser training, there's pangolin laser training, there's all kinds of stuff. So I think people who are interested in really high quality professional training as
Yep.
part of the EDI experience should take a look at the Institute.
And just because I love her loads, Laurie's going to be there with behind the scenes as well, isn't she? She normally has a booth there
Yes,
as
the
well.
behind the scenes, yes, they definitely have added a very nice aspect to LDI. I think this is the 3rd year,
Hmm.
or the 4th, that they're doing a wellness lounge right on the show floor.
I
And
love
they
that.
have a series of sessions in there that starts with morning yoga, cup of coffee yoga,
Ah,
and all sorts of sessions about people that have done touring, could be interested in like nutrition, sleep deprivation, all sorts of things that go along with the behind the scenes mental health. And it's a safe spot on the floor, a great quiet area where people can go and just sort of kick off their shoes and relax.
yeah, that's really. And are they doing the run this year as well? I know last year
Yes,
they
there's
did
a
the run.
5K. I think it's on Sunday morning, and that can also be registered online. If you have a badge already, you can go back into the registration portal and update. You can buy Dining of Dinosaurs a la carte, and you can
Mhm.
buy the 5K run a
Maybe
la
I'll do it
carte.
this year. Let's see.
Now, there you go.
I haven't got my running shoes on for a long time, but yeah, you never know.
That'll be fun. It depends how your jet lag's going, but if you're up at 3 o'clock in the morning anyway, I think they start at 6:30 or 7.
Seriously, that's what I said. Every day it was like 3:30. I was like, I'm wide awake now. Like, so yeah, maybe I'll join
I
them.
know it's not golf, but you should get Marcel to go with you.
I don't think does Marcel play golf? I don't think he
Oh, I
even he
don't know.
plays
I
golf.
assumed he
Yeah,
did.
no.
I thought all the industry people went out on these charity golf things, but maybe not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, actually last year as well was the first time I'd actually met Marcel in person as well, which was quite interesting. I've been working for him for like Gear Source and all the rest of it all these
Really?
years, and it was the
Oh
first time
my.
we actually met.
Well, how interesting.
And he was just so funny. The very first moment, he was like, "Well, we have to, we have to have a Bloody Mary," and I was like, "What?" I was like, "You
At
can't
9
tell me
a.m.
that." I think no, it was a little bit later. It was like 10:30, and I was like, like because you don't know, you're like you're my boss, and he was like, "Oh, come on, let's do it
That's very
properly."
funny.
Like, yeah, he's
Well, at the
lovely.
Plaza Show at London, a lot of the booths have bars built right into
I
them.
know.
Some of them used to even have like a second story, and they go, "Oh, come up to our pub and have a beer." It's like, show just opened. Give me a break.
Well, Ellen,
Some of
thank
the
you
other people.
so much.
Well,
And
thank
just
you. This was
yeah,
great,
come on.
and I look forward to seeing you and everyone at LDI.
Amazing. Me too. Thanks,
Great,
Ellen.
thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
La 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 ladies, the ladies. La, la, la. Now here's the leading ladies by geezers of gear. On tour, maybe she got some stories to share. Now here's the leading ladies by the geezers of gear. Rock star ladies with some stories to share, because la 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 ladies, the ladies, la 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 ladies. Yeah, she's a Now here's the leading ladies by geezers of gear. Rockstar ladies with some stories to share.